Welcome to the California Bureau of Household Goods and Services. As part of the Department of Consumer Affairs, we oversee licensing and enforcement in 5 areas: household moving, electronic and appliance repair, service contracts and extended warranties, upholstered furniture and bedding, and thermal insulation. Today, we'll be giving you a tour of the lab and the work we do here, which focuses on upholstered furniture, bedding, and thermal insulation. Let's start with how the Bureau obtains samples for testing in the lab. Our investigators regularly visit businesses to educate licensees about relevant laws and regulations. They also inspect items that fall under the Bureau's jurisdiction and select samples to bring back to the Bureau. When a sample arrives, lab staff perform several tasks to prepare it for testing: taking photos, checking the registry number, removing identifying accessories from the sample, and placing it in a conditioned room where the temperature and humidity are regulated. If the label on an upholstered furniture sample claims that it passes TB 116, or the standard for flame retardancy, the Bureau will test it. Because this is a voluntary standard, it's not always part of the testing process. For TB 116 tests, Smolder sources, or in our case, cigarettes, are placed directly on the sample and then covered with a sheet. If the smolder escalates into an open flame, or if there's a char more than 2 inches in any direction from the smolder source, the sample fails. Whether a sample passes or fails TB 116, it is broken down, layer by layer, for more testing. Details about each layer, such as weight and size, are documented. Now, it's time to test for TB 117-2013, or the standard for the smolder resistance of materials used in upholstered furniture. This is one of the most common tests conducted at the Bureau. We test smoldering on furniture cover fabric, barrier material, resilient filling material, and decking material. Cigarettes are strategically placed either directly on the sample or on standard reference material placed on the sample, depending on which component we're testing. A sheet is then placed over the cigarettes and left untouched for 45 minutes while analysts observe and document the results. Samples can fail TB 117-2013 for 3 reasons: if they continue to smolder past the allocated time, if there's a char exceeding the length allowed for that component of the sample, or if an open flame develops. After testing for smoldering, samples are analyzed to determine the materials they're made of. This involves identifying materials using a microscope and a Fourier transform infrared spectrometer, as well as observing how the materials dissolve when exposed to different chemicals. Findings from chemical analysis are then used to determine if a sample is actually made from the materials listed on its label. The Bureau also tests bedding products for finished size. We check items such as mattresses, comforters, sleeping bags, and other filled bedding products to verify that they are sized as advertised. We also conduct full-scale mattress burn tests called 16 CFR 1633. Mattresses are brought into a fire-resistant room and a dual burner is ignited against the side of the mattress for 50 seconds and on top for 70 seconds simultaneously. Then, the burner is pulled away and the mattress is left to burn for 30 minutes. Mattresses fail 16 CFR 1633 if the peak heat release exceeds 200 kilowatts at any point during the test, or if the total heat release exceeds 15 megajoules during the first 10 minutes. In addition to home furnishings, the Bureau regulates thermal insulation. We test for R value, or how well it insulates, density, making sure the product is what the manufacturer claims it to be, corrosion, so that the product will not corrode other materials or harm consumers, and its ability to resist smoldering in open flames. The Bureau also manages a consumer directory that lists all thermal insulation products regulated by the Bureau and sold in California. This directory has information on the type of insulation, the manufacturer, the thickness of the insulation, and its R value, and is updated twice a year. Any samples that fail lab testing move on to the Bureau's enforcement unit for further action. Based on the severity of the lab failure, citations may be issued to the business at this stage. Thank you for joining us on our tour of the laboratory at the Bureau of Household Goods and Services. To learn more about us, visit bhgs.dca.ca.gov.